It's our thrill to welcome back to the show. Now, he might be a little damaged. Washington's a violent place up there, but it's our thrill to welcome back to the show Senator Bill Cassidy. How are you, sir?
Matt, I am fantastic. Thank you for having me. Sorry to be a little bit late.
It is quite all right. We know that you're doing the tour de Sinlaw, so to speak, over these last 2 days. And so you've got. I know you've been asked 1,000 times already. What's going on with the sling here?
Oh, yeah. So I got a 70-pound dog dashing down the street. My wife says, catch that dog. I try to catch him, and he pulls my biceps tendon off the bone.
Good Lord.
So I'm getting it operated on tomorrow.
I thought, Schumer or one of those guys, y'all might have tussled a little bit. But.
Well, I like to tell people I was doing clandestine operations behind enemy lines, but, the dog is the reason.
All good, sir. Okay, one thing that we wanted to get to, I saw you introduce this the other week, the College Transparency Act. Please kind of fill people in on what that exactly is.
Yeah, so you're 18 years old, and you're going to go to college. You don't have a clue how much it costs. You don't know how much you're going to earn when you graduate, and you don't know how much you're going to borrow. And no wonder people are finishing school without jobs and moving back to their parents' basement. What we want to do is have a kid log on. This is how much it costs me at this university. If I graduate from there, this is how much I can expect to borrow. And in this curriculum at that university, that's how much I'll earn. And by the way, whatever I look like when I look in the mirror, that's the likelihood someone who looks like me will graduate in that curriculum at that university.
Wow.
Hopefully, the family will make an informed decision, and the person will be better off, and less student loan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you think, in a weird way, the scandal that broke about the paying for their kids to get into college and these celebrities and so forth? Do you think that now is a good time to introduce exactly, and I know that they're not related, but it sort of coincides with a lot of people want to make sure that college is fair and admissions are fair and so on, and they all want to sort of, pay the same price when it comes to if Johnny is attending LSU and his parents, are middle-class people, they don't want Jeff to attend LSU and his parents, own an oil company. And they want to pay the same price, if that makes any sense.
Well, what it comes down to is a lot of young people are graduating with such student loan debt that they can't afford to start a family, to buy a car, to buy a house, and their future is limited by the debt they've accumulated. But the debt the curriculum they studied has not trained them for a career by which they could pay back that debt. They've been hoodwinked. And so anytime you focus on colleges, it brings more attention to what we're doing, and I think that's your point. But probably the statistics we've been seeing about millennials delaying families, not starting a business, et cetera, is the more important thing, and that's what we're focusing on. Give the family the information.
We just had a college president in here prior to you coming on, and he talked about that he's focused on Gen Zers right now. As a millennial, I'm hoping that Gen Zers do a much better job than us millennials do at making sure that college is affordable and they don't have the student debt that we all have. We're talking to Senator Bill Cassidy here, our senior senator for the state of Louisiana. You tweeted this last week, quote, "Medicare for all is Medicare for none. I'm fighting to empower patients while the left is fighting to centralize power within the government. They are not going to expand health care. They are going to cripple it." I always enjoy your takes on health care, being the fact that you're a physician, you think outside the box. Tell me a little bit more about that statement.
Yeah, Medicare is going bankrupt in 8 years. And so the way that the left wants to do it, if you're perfectly happy with your employer-sponsored insurance, I saw Roy Martin yesterday, and he's doing everything he can to keep health care affordable for his employees. You like that plan. Under their ideas, you would lose that plan. No, I want to keep it. Sorry, can't keep it. You'd be put into Medicare. Medicare, a program going bankrupt within a decade. You add 150 million more people. And so what happens? Not only have you lost your employer-sponsored insurance, but the federal program that's supposed to support you now has no money to pay for the bills. Medicare for all is Medicare for none.
Let's talk about the budget going back, and then I'll turn it over to Jim for a question or two. But let's talk about the budget going back. Jim, obviously being our resident Democrat here, and I'm the Republican. That's the roles we play here on the show. Jim is concerned that with the funding designated, or the funding that the president wants to go to the wall, is going to take away from other essential services, or take away from things like Fort Polk and Barksdale and things of that nature. What do you say to that?
There's 3 or 4 pots that are going to the wall. One is money that Congress expressly appropriated. Okay, boom. The second is something that I suggested, sent a letter to the president, actually talked to him on the phone, called the Asset Forfeiture Fund. So this is money that was taken from cartels who are trying to take their money that they earned selling drugs in the United States back to Mexico. That's been confiscated. $600 million of that is coming from that fund, Asset Forfeiture Fund. There is money coming from the military, and there will be some construction projects that will be delayed. On the other hand, the military's budget is pretty substantial, and $2 billion is a lot of money, but the military will more than be able to meet its mission. But by the way, the military's mission is to provide for the security of the United States. 60,000 Americans die annually from drug overdoses. If we can help stop that, that certainly contributes to the security of the United States.
Well, I think you're talking apples and oranges, and the money that's for MILCON, military construction, has already been appropriated, and they have to fight tooth and nail to get what they get, and then to take it away from them like that, I just can't see it. It's not that much of an emergency, and if you don't have good, happy troops, you got emergency too. So Jim, all over the world.
So Jim, I'm going to disagree with you. Again, we have drugs coming across the border. We have 2,000 folks coming across the border illegally every day. 2,000 people, with human trafficking being a huge portion of that. And so that's probably, in my mind, 60,000 Americans dying annually. The wall's not the only solution, but it's part of the solution. I think we should be focused on that. Frankly, think it's a higher priority.
Well, that's 13th century. I think that you could beef up the security by electronic surveillance, that kind of thing. A wall's not going to stop anybody.
So when I went to McAllen, Texas, and that's one of the checkpoints, they actually have a wall in the middle of the city. And they have the wall in the middle of the city because it actually funnels the folks coming illegally to those places where they're more likely to be caught. El Paso, a wall in an urban setting clearly works. And that's what the president is speaking of. Walls in areas that are high trafficked that you can otherwise funnel people to places where they would be more likely to be caught. It's not the only solution, but it's part of the solution.
Well, you bring up McAllen. Go talk to the people in McAllen. They don't.
I'm sure as a U.S. Senator, he probably has. We're talking to Senator Bill Cassidy. Jim, just in the interest of time, I got to move on here. Let's talk about the Green New Deal. We had my mother, Deborah Randolph, the chamber president, who I know you attended. Well, you went to Catholic High, and she went, or no.
I went to Terra High School.
You went to Terra, but you guys graduated high school the same year.
Yeah, she's la-di-da. She went to the private school, and I went to the public school.
Mom went to St. Joseph's Academy. Anyway, my mom, the chamber president here, recently attended a U.S. chamber meeting of a committee of 100, and they were briefed by the U.S. counterintelligence when it comes to business and things of that nature. And they are very concerned about the bills that have been filed by the quote-unquote progressive members of Congress. We would call them, or I would call them, socialist. Are you concerned about that movement?
I'm concerned that people would not condemn Maduro, the dictator of Venezuela, and not recognize that capitalism is what has brought prosperity to the United States, and that other countries are adopting capitalism to bring prosperity to their people. For example, China. It shows there's kind of a basic ignorance of how the world works. And are there things that need to be corrected? As always. That's why I'm introducing things like the College Transparency Act. But the idea that we're going to go and adopt a economic system that time again has been shown to create poverty, not wealth, that is troublesome.
Senator Bill Cassidy, as always, we thank you for your time. We know you have to go do your 12th interview right after this, so good luck to that. I know you'll be speaking at the Alexandria Rotary Club later this morning, so have a good time. And surgery tomorrow?
Surgery tomorrow morning.
God bless you, sir. We hope it goes well.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Jim.
We'll be right back.